The reason why that guy is right and that it's YouTube and not Zoom is because YouTube is sending us this. All right, let's see. I'm gonna have to redo all of those links I just set up.
Oh yeah.
Dad joke. Did you hear about the microphone checker who got really, really drunk? No. He had a 1 2 1 2 1 2 mini.
I thought the first time that happened, it was because you were singing, though.
Usher?
No, remember the first time you weren't singing Usher, you were singing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that's when it first started happening.
It probably was the word love.
He had a 1 2 1 2 1 2.
But I've always done love out.
I think they just have key words that triggers that.
That's so ridiculous. It's so inconvenient. Especially when you can appeal it, but if I'm going live, obviously you're not going to look at it soon enough.
Did you hear about the microphone checker who got really, really drunk? He had a 1 2 1 2 1 2 mini.
Okay, I'm in Kevin Safe Studios schedule.
Dad joke.
And then I'm gonna log out.
Dad joke. Did you hear about the microphone checker who got really, really drunk? He had a 1 2 1 2 1 2 mini. Dad joke. Did you hear about the microphone checker who got really, really drunk? He had a 1 2 1 2 1 2 mini. Dad joke.
Okay, let's see if this will work. Last time it was about 4 minutes in that it stopped working.
Did you hear about the microphone checker who got really, really drunk? He had a 1 2 1 2 1 2 mini. Dad joke. Did you hear about the microphone checker who got really, really drunk? He had a 1 2 1 2 1 2 mini. Dad joke. Did you hear about the microphone checker who got really, really drunk?
All people have been saying for on asking the questions for Angela and Manny, tell them I love them.
That's like, literally it?
Yes, I'm like, you guys are the worst. So that's how, but she actually wants to ask us questions. It's so funny though, even when everyone was like, Melissa, we want to hear your answers. Because I always feel like we talk about the same thing over and over and over and over. And she was like, well, I really want to know these questions about you guys. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like we talk about this all the time.
Are we doing their podcast the same day?
Yeah. But you just realize.
We should just do, when we do this, we just make it a joint podcast that we post on both people's.
Well, we're going to make it a part 1 and a part 2 like we did with What You Call It.
Okay, something like that. Because like shooting 2 whole separate ones is
Kevin, turn that off.
I didn't put this on. It just, when I went on TikTok, it just came up.
Okay, it's about to kick me off again, and we all,
That's
none
not
of
why
us
it's doing that.
You don't think so? You don't think it's recognizing
that part is no, it can't recognize that in real time. But as soon as you post it, it'll scan it and take it down. But YouTube, remember, they like music. They just don't want you to post Drake's music.
I don't know what it is. All I'm saying is I don't.
It's
I don't
those. There's a database of words that it's scanning for that's taken out.
Oh wow, she cut her hair off. I wonder
So that's
why.
Tana.
Mm-hmm. She's a pretty girl. I want to schedule this out a little bit till like 6:10, 6:05. Because I was hoping to talk to Shan before she got on here. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know how I know I need something to do? Because I went to sleep the other day with a pan full of Rice Krispie treats.
What do you mean?
Like I took a nap and the Rice Krispie treats were
In your vicinity?
no, not in my vicinity. Like I brought them over from the kitchen on the couch with me.
Mm-hmm. It's me.
What is it?
My toe.
It sounds like rain.
Jenna has 5 million
That's
subscribers.
crazy.
You still checking?
Checking for it's over here. Yeah, I just leave it up in case it goes down.
I didn't know. You told me that, and I couldn't. I still don't remember. Did you update both Patreons?
I already did.
You got to show me how to do that. Schedule post. I don't know. I've never seen that. You can schedule anything.
What you mean?
Like if I want to schedule a link, like when I'm trying to schedule the like Knives Out was a little bit later. I had the link, but I didn't want to post it until another time.
I think so. I only go to the live thing though. It's the only thing I've used it for. You talking about here or a link?
I didn't. Show me how you scheduled it.
I did this. I'll put the link there. Let me just do it over here. Schedule.
Will that go on any post?
What do you mean?
Try just link. I've never seen that schedule option. I also never used Patreon, the computer, to do this.
Mm-hmm. Publish now.
Oh, man, that's great.
Oh, is this how you send them? You don't send them as use YouTube live link?
I just put a link in the. I just put link.
Oh, I didn't use link.
I didn't do subscribe. I mean,
live stream.
Live stream.
Oh, I did live stream.
That is not available on the phone. I always do it on the phone.
Oh, got it. About to unschedule these because I'm not quite sure when she's going to come in. And I don't want to, I just don't want to risk it.
Mm-hmm.
Going nowhere as we reach the climax. Together now we're undone. Run away.
Did she check in and say she coming?
That's what, yeah, we talked this morning. Talked yesterday and this morning. But at 55, I'm about to do it again. Got it.
Got what?
She's in. Hello. We can't hear you. I don't think she's on mute, right? Let's do unmute all. Can we hear you now? Okay. Oh, you can hear us? I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
There we go.
Yes, there it is. Perfect.
Do you want me to get a better microphone, or is this audio okay for you?
That audio's perfect. It sounds really good, actually.
I have to be perfect.
Yes,
All
great. Okay, you ready? All right, I'm gonna send the link to you.
Hi, Shan.
What's up, Kat?
Okay,
Just turn on my lights on.
Okay.
Let me turn on one more. Start.
And I'll just send it to you and you can.
Oh, you took the other ones out?
Yeah.
All right. All right.
And then I will.
Lamp not cooperating. Oh man.
I like your lights are very moody right now. I kind of like the vibes.
More like Shan Moody.
It's giving me like a beard, like a little like 5 o'clock.
Oh, a shadow. Yeah, I see a little bit, but it's super moody. I kind of like it actually.
A little reflective.
You can do. Yeah.
Patreon that won't have.
Okay. I'm like, I'm scared now. Listen.
What would you call it?
Love Hour After Dark. What's Shan Moody?
Okay.
And I'm saying moody because we're talking about moods. Okay. All right.
Shan Boody, I've learned Shan Body, which
I guess that works.
works too.
Okay. So you don't have to send it yet. Or are you gonna schedule it? Like, I just want to talk really quickly, make sure we're all on the same page. Okay. So, she's gonna go real quick.
I can still hear you.
Okay, so we do this live with our Patreon. It won't post anywhere. It'll just be our discussion. What I was thinking about doing was obviously I'll introduce you very briefly, and then you can kind of give your own introduction. And then I wanted to make this kind of dating centric as much as possible, but I know we're going to get like sex questions and just all kind of stuff. So I did get a few questions that we can answer, but before we go into the questions, I was thinking that we can talk a little bit. Well, actually, before I go there, can you give me the synopsis of your Quibi show? Like, I would like as much as possible to kind of tie in your Quibi show and your book, because I think they're related, but I'm not sure how much.
So the Quibi show is genuinely quick bites. There's 130 episodes, and each episode has a unique sex, love, or dating topic.
Sex, love, or dating topic. Okay, so
you got
really
130 episodes.
Yes. So there's very few things we don't cover off on.
God, dog.
Yeah.
Okay, so then what? So really, you can answer anything.
Well, yeah, anything but medical stuff.
Medical stuff. Okay, so I was thinking about starting with, do you believe dating is harder today than it was whenever the before period was? I think that's a question that comes up a lot. And then we can talk about the reasons why. And then talking about what, if you're single out there and you're looking for, and you're dating, things you can do to, I don't know, get a better pool selection. I don't know if that's the right word, but like, set yourself up to have greater success than maybe what you're doing now. And then even talking about, I know in your book,
I'm doing the Love Hour go.
Okay. In your book, you talk about dating with dominance. So like talking about what that means, what that looks like, your Frozen 5, which I love. I call them non-negotiables, but I love kind of how you have the, like start with your 24, I think it is, and then like how you narrow them down. So I think those were good questions. And then as we talk, of course, Kevin will chime in, I will chime in, and then I'm sure we're just going to get flooded with like questions and comments, and we can kind of intermingle all of those in.
I love it, intermingle.
Okay. Okay,
When-
cool.
You guys never did online dating, right? Did you? either of you?
The
No.
internet didn't exist when we met.
No.
I pulled up to her house in a horse and carriage, and I was a gentleman
Facts.
caller. I asked for her father's hand in dating.
Facts. Okay, Kev, I think we're ready. All right. I just sent it to Catherine is in this as well. She is all things to us. She's in our Patreon and just kind of helps us, and she will filter questions and send them over to us so we don't have to get bombarded in the actual live chat situation. But if you want to look at it, totally up to you. I'll send you the link as well. And then Kev's gonna send it out. This should be fun. It's usually really, really chill. I usually have a glass of wine, which I don't have today.
I have watermelon. That's what I brought to the party.
Yeah, I actually should. We need to get this sponsored by like a wine something. Like, who can sponsor this segment of the Love Hour?
It's a perfect opportunity for a wine company.
Seriously. It's very laid back. It's in the evening, like half a glass of wine, chit chat, learn about life, love, sex. Oh, I'm so excited.
All
This
right,
would be
link
good.
is sent.
All right. So I will.
Kev,
I said the link was sent. Oh, anal fisting before that.
say that.
That's it.
Just checking.
How do you see how many? Oh, do you want it on this view, gallery view?
No, you can put it on speaker view. Because I know people like to see all of us at the same time.
Do you see the on this thing? Does it show you how many people are in?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just small.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I got it.
There it is. That's the
Yeah,
view you're talking about.
Okay. I feel like this is not.
Ooh, don't do that. Don't do that.
Going nowhere fast, we reach the.
This is now stuck in his head and has been for.
That Usher was watching people's renditions of it and critiquing them.
I want him to see mine and tell me that I've got the voice of a Labrador whose foot paw just got stepped on.
Real shady expressions.
I forgot that Usher is the GOAT. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be the first to say it's been a long time since I've listened to like an Usher album or like heard him live or anything. So the fact that he was like, let me remind you and The Weeknd that I do's this. And like was singing, first of all, Climax was like a wholly falsetto song. And then was doing it lying down. He was like, y'all forgot. Let me just.
Y'all must have forgot.
Y'all forgot. Y'all just really out here just really? That's what y'all think? Let me remind y'all. And I was reminded.
I got reminded of Bruno Mars this morning. And I was like, that's quarantine music.
Yes.
Great quarantine music.
Yeah.
Oh, it is on mine, Catherine. Because Kev's is broken.
What does that matter?
She's saying she can't kick people out or
oh, you didn't make her a mod?
No, because we never did it on mine.
You can't make a mod on a
live.
Unlisted?
Can you not?
I clicked her name. If she comments, I clicked people and made them mods.
Okay. Can you comment really quick, Catherine, in the live? Yep.
Yeah,
and we can do it live.
Make a mod.
They're saying, hi, Shan, your book is amazing. I love Shan since I've seen her interview with Tim. Shan is awesome.
That's how I found out about her too.
Let me get a copy of the book just to have on Shan.
Yes. Okay.
You might as well.
Okay, I got you. You're now a moderator for the channel, Catherine. All right. So I think we are ready. Why is no one ready? Some people are saying they heard you from the Friend Zone podcast. I've actually, yeah. Okay, I've listened to that. I'm such a podcast junkie. I listen to some of everything. It is ridiculous how many podcasts I listen to.
That's a staple podcast. And like all the promo that I've ever done for the book, you know, because they put so much emphasis on major press, nothing was more impactful to me than the friend zone.
Wow.
Wow.
I believe that. I think that there is a certain connection that you have with your audience on podcasts that you're just not going to get on like, you know, regular major networks.
And honestly, they don't have the numbers in many cases.
They just don't know that. They don't have the influence. It's been a long time since Oprah could hold up your book and it sell 1 million, you know, copies.
That's true.
People aren't watching like that.
Oh, but there's a podcast, it's called The Read, and the host was saying that the last 4 books that she endorsed and that she hosted their like launch in New York all became New York Times bestsellers.
With Crystal?
Yeah.
Wow. I was in the Delta Sky Club with Crystals.
I think I was with you.
That was?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Essence.
I used to, man, I've gone to a live show of The Read and listen, I used to dedicated following member of The Read. Okay, we're gonna get started. You ready? All right, everybody. Hello. I am so excited. Today we have a very special guest. Her name is Shan Boody. As many of you guys already know, she is an author, speaker, sexologist. She has been featured on MTV, the Steve Harvey Show, Facebook Watch. She has a Quibi show. She is an author, I think, of 2 books.
Yes.
Of 2 girl. I did my research. Okay.
You snap so loud.
I snap like a black woman.
So it is unnatural to snap that loud. This is my snap sound.
Practice. I will tell you.
It is. So I'm super excited. I wanted to do an episode dedicated to dating specifically. And because Kevin and I have been married dating since we were 16. And we never really had like an official dating, like we never dated like that. Like it's just been.
We went to the dollar movies so many times.
But I mean, we never dated other people.
Oh yeah. The summer of 99 was crazy for me. That was before I met you. But you know what? God sent me a wife and I'm glad.
So that's what this episode is about. Shan, I will give you the opportunity and the floor to introduce yourself, cover all the bases I didn't cover.
I want to just say that you're a show off and that you hustle. Because you said, I don't really have an intro for you. I'm just going to kind of.
She lies, Shan.
An incredible introduction. That was awesome. I have nothing else to say. I'm glad to be here. I think like the bedrock of my career is to empower people to be their own sex and relationship experts, to give them resources that they become a guru in their own friend group. And that's the information I wanted to pass on in the Game of Desire and the information I'm happy to talk about here. So I'm also really hyped that we're doing this with like a small group so we can have like a real intimate conversation, because there's nothing more boring than talking about relationships and sex when you can't chime in. So everybody please chime in.
Chime in, cuz.
I love that. And if you guys were on the last live with the ladies of the Real Comedian social media, you guys know I love like small, intimate conversations. So I'm excited. Super excited, actually. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to open it up first. Oh, wait, before we do that, I want to tell you guys how we actually met Shan about 2 years ago? 3 years ago?
Yeah, I think it was the first stand-up tour.
Which is really a year and a half.
YouTube Black?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably about a year and a half ago. It'll be 2 years this October. They didn't invite me back this year.
Because nobody's going anywhere this year, Kevin.
Oh, they had it. Dormtainment was there.
Oh, last year's.
Yeah, it's fine. Let bygones be bygones. But yeah, it was about a year and a half ago.
Year and a half ago, we met Shan. We were in a we did the like tour stops, the press stops together. And I actually think you were writing, it was right before you got married. I think you were writing Game of Desire.
Yes, I was.
Yeah.
And we talked about this moment way back then. And here we are a year and a half later. Sometimes you just gotta it's gonna come to you. You just gotta be
yes. Oh yeah, so I'm really excited. So we're gonna get straight into it. So what I want to do first, like I said, if you are dating, this is the episode for you. Get your questions ready. Shan has a Quibi episode with 130
Quibi show
with 130 130. I'm looking for him to confirm. I could just ask you girls. Your show? 130 episodes. So, child, there is no topic she can't touch on.
Anal fisting.
So Kev said anal fisting. She was like, wait, did you say that?
How do you go from one to the whole fist? Inquiring minds want to know.
I met somebody who became the anal fisting Guinness Book of World Record holder because they fisted the most people in one evening. So
they were the fister or the fisty?
The fister.
They did the most anals?
Yes, they did. They fisted the most people in one.
How many
The
is
people
that?
who get their butt fisted don't get to join the record?
70.
70?
Or, yeah, maybe it was 40. It was somewhere in that range. It wasn't 100. It was enough to be like, wow, but not like so crazy that I was like, that's impossible. I could see that happening.
Right.
I digress. We're talking about
That's pretty interesting though.
Man.
All right. So Shan, what we want to do, okay, like I said, we're talking about dating and all the things. So the people that listen to the Love Hour, which there are a lot of single people that listen to the Love Hour. And one of the things that they're always, or people are always sending me, whether by DM or email or just like inboxing me or whatever, is how difficult it is. Like they low key always want me and Kev to play matchmaker. Like they're always like, it's so hard to find someone. It is so hard to date these days. So what are your thoughts on, is it actually harder dating today than whenever before it was? I don't know when the great period of dating was, but apparently we've moved beyond that period. So but is that true in your opinion?
It is more difficult with less guidance. So I always describe it as essentially what we have is a culture of people who've never, ever learned about love, dating, connection, emotional intelligence, healthy sexuality, period. Like sex education is the longest running bad joke. But on top of that, we don't get any other form of intimacy education. But back in the day, your options were limited, or you had a bunch of scaffolding. Your parents or your family chose your partner for you. If you were involved in the church chose your partner for you. And so even though you didn't have the tools to find the right person, the community was such a small pool that it just naturally serendipitously happened a lot easier. And so it's kind of a similar question of, is it harder to find your passion now than it was before? Because before it's like, you want to be the blacksmith, the baker, the butcher, like there's 7 jobs, which one are you going to take? But now there's infinite possibilities. There's less community scaffolding. There's more of an individualistic attitude. People are waiting longer to get married. And so that can be a positive thing because there's more options. And so that could be good, but it's not good if you've never gotten the tools for discernment to find the right partner for yourself. And especially in a world that doesn't prioritize, like, yeah, if you want to be successful in this area, you have to put the work in. I'm reading this book right now that's called The Art of Loving. And the author is like, it sounds like what I'm saying is like love is an art form. But what is art? Art is discipline. Art is theory. Art is practice. Art is guidance. Mm-hmm. Through that continuous process, your art becomes second nature to you. Your art becomes an extension of who you are. But art is a skill. So he was like, love is also a skill in the exact same way. So I think if you don't have that mindset, absolutely it's harder. But if you don't have that mindset, who could blame you?
Wow.
Okay, so
I see why you have a book and a show. I mean, very clear. The doggone butcher, baker, blacksmith idea and the scaffolding. I was sitting there you don't know how many times I was like, oh yeah.
You guys meet at church or through
we met
just
in
high school?
High school.
We met in high school on the bus.
And that was just luck. That's nothing like, there was no intervention from like an authority or an adult or anything.
No, but so people are not going to church as much as they used to. Church doesn't happen as much as it used to also. It's not necessarily people's fault. When I was a kid, church happened literally 5 or 6 times a week. Now our church in LA happens one time, one service. So there's less, whatever. And I'm just thinking about all my friends who got married around us around that time, who met each other at church. And nowadays people don't meet at church as much as they used to. And I didn't think about family and like all that stuff, where at least it gave you some like options and direction. Now it's just like, all right, I guess you swipe around on Tinder. I don't know how people meet. I really don't know. I can't imagine dating right now. I feel sorry for people who are single because I don't. What do you do? What do you do?
But the good news is that millennials, for example, have decreased the amount of divorces that are going to happen. People are now reporting being more happier in marriages. And there was a report that came out that said that the average person is going to get married, but 80% of the population will get married by age 45 to 49. So it is still, the fact that we're waiting longer isn't indicative that it's not going to be as positive, but it can be more frustrating. And there is lots more trial and error that doesn't have to be there. I feel like, when you come out of school and you're doing a bunch of jobs,
Yes.
but each job is bringing you closer to your passion and to your ultimate career. And each job, you're learning the skills necessary to be better for the kind of job you want. I feel like a lot of people go through a lot of relationships that don't set them up to be better for the next person. And so that's where I think that dating can be shitty. It's one thing, I don't mind having, I got married at 33 years old. So I am a part of the statistic who got married later in life. I didn't start having great romantic dating experiences until age 30. And that's only because I started to get really purposeful about who I interacted with and how I went about doing that.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I have a lot of questions because I thought I love this right now. So my first question is what are the steps for people to start being intentional about dating? I think it's so important what you just said is that, so many things. Okay. I'm gonna just say this one last thing.
Melissa's
I know.
She's intellectually erect right now. Anytime a guest does this is like the equivalent of a hard penis for her.
I get like on overload.
Like, now she's messing around and thinking.
Guys, you're welcome, Kev.
So if I think something that you said was really important, I just want to come back to it really quickly, is you've taken a lot of what we think about love as being like this romantic, serendipitous, it shouldn't be so hard kind of thing. And it really is about intentionality. And there is a bit of work that goes into it beforehand when it comes to what you want, but also once you're in it. And I think even when I think about a while ago, we were on Black Love and they asked us and we ended up talking about like, how did you know you were the one?
Yeah.
And I always say, I really didn't know. And I know that that's not like on my wedding day, I didn't know. And I know it doesn't sound very romantic, but it wasn't until I've been in this, like I've always said, we've been together for 21 years, really, that after we put in the work, we've been through trials, we've been through tribulations. It's now at this point that I'm willing to say, I would say yes again 25 years or 20 years ago, only because I'm so sure today. But it's because of the work that I've put in. I don't know if that makes sense, but I guess what I'm saying is it's not all romantic. And I think if we take that out of our mind, it makes it a little bit easier to go about this process.
I mean, especially for you guys, you were so young. You were still learning about yourself. You were still developing. What you've done is so unique and special because it's very difficult to choose somebody else and to devote yourself to intimacy when you don't even know how to really love or understand yourself yet. So it's completely understandable that the two of you would take time to get to know yourself and be sure of who you are before you can be like, okay, I'm sure about my career. I'm sure about my man. I'm sure about where we live. Like I'm certain because now I've developed an identity for myself. So
Yes.
I think that
I just want to say I'm not just on my phone. Sorry, Shan. I thought you stopped.
Oh, good. You're allowed.
The Patreon link, I forgot to put it in the body of the link. And sometimes people can't click the thing. So I'm listening, but somebody just DM me and I realized I forgot to put it in there. And I don't want people to, somebody's like, I want to catch the live. And I'm like, oh, snap, I didn't put that thing.
Okay.
So that's all. I am listening. I'm not just playing text games.
Okay. I can see what you guys.
That's because I'm tapping. Yeah.
She's pinching me under here. She's pinching me and I'm bleeding. I'm underneath this thing. There's so much blood loss. And I just really want everybody to watch the show. And I'm bleeding internally.
But yeah,
okay. Link is updated.
Link is updated. We're back on. We're being. I think that when I say dating with dominance, the game of desire, the subtitle is how to date with dominance and get what you want. A lot of people interpreted that as like walking up to someone like, can I buy you a drink? You know, it's just. It means dating with intentionality, having a clear vision of who you want, being in the driver's seat. And that's something as simple for a lot of women as making the first move. Why would you, if this is a really big part of your life, the quality and quantity of your close relationships will determine 2/3 of your happiness. And so this is a massive part of your life that creates your legacy, that creates your contentment. So why would you leave this area up to other people? Why would you leave the task of finding the right life partner for you completely up to others? So that's what I mean about dating with dominance, putting some brain power behind this, having some strategy, really trying to succeed in this area. And I think people traditionally think of trying as like a sign of desperation or a sign of grossness, or that you're like a leopard. I think it's the opposite. I think somebody who wants to see success will try. Now, don't get me wrong, there's no hard rules. I love your guys' story, but it is like the enemy of what I preach, because you guys just happened,
Yeah, I realize we are in the norm, but here's our problem with our relationship. It fits the Hollywood narrative of love. Love finds you, you fall in love, you bump into a person, and then you add to it the church background we come from, which is he who finds the wife finds a good thing. Therefore, if you are a woman, you shouldn't have to do anything. Your husband should just be walking and find you. There's no like, what does that mean? I've heard a lot of pastors describe that. It doesn't mean he literally bumps into you and finds you. It means he finds you worthy of, being a wife, mainly because you are confident, you have your own stuff together, and he sees you with that, not literally like he's playing hide and go seek. But I think, like you said, one thing I think you said that has really stuck to me is there's less guidance. But there's still the Hollywood narrative of love and butterflies and bumping into somebody at a bar and all that type of stuff. And I don't think it was ever true, but it's probably even less true nowadays, just with the way society's set up.
I mean, all things are true. I always give the example of like to be in LA. You could come to LA to be an actor and get a job on a lot, and the perfect director just finds you and says, you get on set right now. You're the star of this film. That happens to some people. Most people got to put the work in, got to try with casting directors, have to audition constantly, have to put those out there, have to go to classes, have to go through a lot of rejection, like have to network. But both stories are possible. It's just, are you going to put all of your eggs in the lucky basket, or are you going to be like, in either case, even if you do get found by the right person, the work that you put in to understand how to love, understand how to connect, understand how to flirt, it's not going to be for naught. Like, this is never going to be knowledge that you're not going to utilize. So why be resistant to opening yourself up to it?
So good. So then walk us through your dating with dominance, dating with intentionality, like the model.
So
and then I'll
answer
you guys' questions.
Yes. So phase one is to know, and knowing yourself is just being clear about who you are, and not in a like, I'm a Taurus, and I like walks on the beaches, like really intentional knowledge. What's my attachment style? What is my love language? What's my apology language? What's my big 5 personality traits? What are my strengths? What personality types will never work with me based on who I am? Which bring out the best in me? Like that kind of advanced knowledge, just kind of similarly to if you're applying yourself for a career, you go through 18 years of school system, trial and error to learn what are my strengths, what are my passions, what are my gifts? And now with that information, I can align myself with the right career to give myself a shot at having my dream job. But when it comes to romance, we do none of that. And you just expect to find, the quote unquote perfect career for yourself. So that knowing knowledge is, I think, robbed from a lot of people. You have to seek that out for yourself. And then it's all about changing. Now that you know what's got to get fixed. The pet peeve advice for mine is just be yourself. Like the best dating advice is to just be yourself, which you wouldn't need dating advice if being yourself was enough, right? Like that's in any area in life, that's just obvious. If I'm struggling with, fitness or with health, I can't just continue the same patterns. I have to adopt and make changes. I have to enlist the help of experts, which goes to phase 3, which is learning. Learn from a bunch of people, read a bunch of books, and in all kinds of areas. Learn from you guys. Learn from this podcast, which everybody's already doing this already, so kudos to your audience. But learn from your friend who's in marketing. Like, if I'm trying to put myself out there on dating apps, like what should I know about presenting myself for success? How do I cut through the noise? So being really open to the expertise and advice of other people, and you got to practice can't dunk a ball if you're not practicing it. You can't dunk in a game if you're not practicing in practice. So if you want to be confident and flirtatious and, you know, dominant but directional, if you want to be able to have the self-awareness to pick the right person, you have to be practicing these things all day long. And then through these steps, which can take a while for anybody, that's when you now become the art. You now become the person that, you know, your partner can find because you've made yourself visible and you are the quality of partner that you know that you would pick.
You know what's great about this? This is very practical,
It's
good
so
advice.
practical.
What we always hear is things are automatic and things just happen.
Rocky.
Be yourself. I've heard that so many times told to other people. And I think it's not practical.
Yeah.
Like even
What
just
does it
knowing
mean?
what personality type you have, even as simple as knowing what love language you have. So you can tell a potential partner, oh, this is how I interpret love. And they're like, oh, that's not my thing. I can't. Now you've at least saved some time eliminating a partner and not finding this like 2 or 3 years later. I think there's so much value in doing the work. I joke that a lot about doing the work, but knowing what you like to eat and don't like to eat makes restaurants more fun because you're not just guessing. I know I don't like, say spicy food. If I order the spiciest thing on the menu, I'm not gonna like that. But we do that in relationships all the time. We don't even,
also,
don't I like?
You know what's so annoying? When people don't know what they like coming into a relationship even the restaurant example, what do you want for dinner? Like, I don't know, whatever you want. It's like, what are you in the mood for? They're like, just pick something. What do you like? And it's when people want to know how to love you. People want to know how to be, if they're devoting time to be intimate with you, they want to be successful at it. And it shouldn't be guesswork. So the more that you know yourself, the more that you can be prescriptive to other people to say, hey, here's the blueprint for how to do this successfully. Yeah. I give the example of buy a plant, and a plant comes with those instructions. It's like, put me near a window. I need water at the bottom. Like, it's not trying to take the guesswork out of it. Like, this is how I'll survive in your home. Like, what if people came with those same instructions? Like, how much less unnecessary romantic turmoil would there have to be?
Woo. Man, it puts the pressure on you, but also the power in you. It gives you the power to own your own relationship as opposed to being relegated to whatever relationship falls in your lap. Like, no, I like this. I don't like this. If you don't like that, then, you know, I feel like if I were dating and somebody said, hey, I like this, this, and that, is my love language, here's the 5 personality things about me, I'd be like, well, that's a lot more, you know, valuable. Same thing with sex. Like, I like this, I don't like that, this and that. Like, I feel like it takes the Hollywood part out of it, which I feel like we've all internalized too much, but it makes it that much more, you know, concrete and likely to happen because you know what you want. Mm-hmm. And the person can't say, I don't know, man. Well, you should just know me. No, you should know you, and you should share that information with me. And I'll do the same.
I mean, we're having a very scholastic conversation here. So I'm not suggesting that you walk up to someone and be like, so here's the 5 things that I require right now. Like, can you do this with a pen in your hand? So it still should be in the form of seduction and play and flirtatiousness and communication that's fun and inviting to be a part of. But at least, again, that's kind of a part of the dominance, is having that direction behind why you say what you say and why you're doing it. But I'm not suggesting by any means that.
What you got to do is you say, hey, what do you want for appetizers? I'll take the buffalo wings. Also, my love language is quality time. Just drop them in here and there.
I have a question for you that popped in my mind, and then Catherine is sending your questions, so I'm going to get to those, but people did email me, so I want to get to those first. But how do you marry the two? So more specifically, how do you marry the idea of being seductive and flirtatious and that kind of keeping a little bit of that lofty airiness that is love that we see displayed on TV and movies with the concreteness of know who you are, know what your non-negotiables are. Like, how do you marry those two without being one, you know what I mean? I feel like myself personally, I would sway more like this is my list versus the other way. And I'm sure there are people who would go the other way. So how do you marry those two?
I just think it's practice. It's like choreography. I'm like the fucking, I do not stop with the analogies. It's a severe problem of mine.
Neither does Kevin.
you know, you know when you're watching a dancer, you can see the difference between the person who's doing the 8 counts and the person who's living the 8 counts. Like that, it just flows through them.
That is a good analogy.
And the difference is really just practice, right? Like it becomes second nature to you. But in the truth, both of them still had to learn the fundamental principles of it. So
right.
I think it comes with time. So the more, and also too, you start to be able to listen to it. I try to detect people's love and apology language or attachment style off the bat. Like if I'm working with you especially, that's really valuable information for me on how to successfully interact with you. So I've gotten really good at starting conversations that I know will tell me bits about that. I've gotten really good about dropping hints about what I need without being really confrontational about it. So I just think that with time and confidence, and confidence is not like a choice. You know, you don't decide like I'm going to be confident. I'm going to just pick to be confident, because confidence is the result of success over time. You become.
You know what's interesting about that?
Melissa, you walking heavy, Shan. You walking heavy.
Melissa was so a friend of ours to here is really photogenic, right? Takes great pictures. Melissa follows a lot of people, and she was doing research about how to take great pictures. And all these people said, practice your poses. And I talked to Tahir about this. He was like, nah, fam, I practice my poses. I've taken a lot of pictures. And we just think people just naturally fall into these things. And it's not. It is literally like Maddie James tweeted, when I'm not feeling confident, I look away and, you know, it makes for this great picture. And I think we want it to, we think everything is magic. And there's some post-production, there's some practice behind the scenes that you haven't seen that even goes into taking pictures. So of course there's some that's necessary for dating successfully.
Yeah. And
I never thought a person needed to be a good dater.
Don't get me wrong. There's people who just have it, like charisma, you know, or humor. Some people, they grew up in a funny home, or they were naturally apt in that way. So they never had to be intentional about it. That's not my story. You know, I grew up very disagreeable. It was very hard for me to get along with people. I was a terrible student. I was not somebody who got along with coaches. I often had drama with people. My relationships were really tumultuous. And, you know, by the time I turned 28 years old, I was like, what's the common denominator here? Like, you know,
who is you pulled the Scooby-Doo mask off yourself and it was you? It was me? I'm the reason my relationships are hard? Wow. I started
reconstructing and being like, okay, what is charisma? What is influence? You know, what is charm? How do I influence people without it becoming uncomfortable? How do I assert my ideas without making somebody else feel like they've given up a part of themselves? So I had to get really intentional about learning that. And that's who I wrote the book for, is people who maybe aren't in my full position, but somebody who can relate and say like, yeah, I wasn't the most popular kid in school who just knew how to turn the charm on. I wasn't the person who could just walk up to anybody at a bar. Like that's not been my story. And that's okay. Again, like I said, educationally, those tools were never provided for you. Some people were gifted with them, or some people had scaffolding from a parent or somebody else who they learned through that, a really cool uncle or something. It's just not my story.
Okay.
I love this, Shan, that you are, I almost wish everybody could see this now.
Yeah,
I feel like
I low-key think
maybe make it a public episode like 3 months from now.
Okay.
But I love that you're taking the mystical part of this out of the equation. Like there's Michael Vick, I gotta have my sports analogy, physically gifted athlete, can run fast, throw far, just out of there. And then there's Peyton Manning, can't run fast, can't do anything, but he works his doggone butt off, studies film, and that's what he needed, and that's what it was required to be a great quarterback. And I think people, if they hear nothing else from you, I hear be intentional about your love life, your dating life, and put work in, and you'll see results. I think low key, I think people just expect it to happen. Mm-hmm. And nothing in life just happens. Hardly anything, I should say, because some directors do just call you out, but that is a very rare occurrence. Most people audition like crazy, get told no like crazy, and finally catch a big break after failing for 10 years. And I think if you took that out of it, then you go into your dating life and you're like, man, 3 or 4 relationships haven't worked, but I learned this about myself. I learned that about myself. And these things were good about this relationship. And now you're a better person going into your next potential relationship.
You know what's really cool about that too? Because like people, you know, really idolize the fantasy story. And when you even think about that, like, what's that girl's name? Megan Fox. You know how her story was like Michael Bay just picked her?
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah.
he blew her up overnight. But then when he decided to take that away, she didn't have that foundational backing underneath her. She didn't have the work behind
no relationships,
no
nothing
herself. So this last year with the book coming out, you know, I'd gotten so much critique around the book because I wanted to make it an interesting read. So when the show, a show I really admired, kind of made fun of me. And for a minute, it made me feel sad. But then I was like, I've put in so much work that there's not a single opinion out there that can tank me. There is no Michael Bay that can take everything away from me. Like, so that as much as we all want the fast route, because, you know, it's very appealing and it's very romantic, that can be what can be given to you quickly can be taken away quickly. So the substance.
Oh, freaking true, Shan. Because I saw that and I was like, no, but I've known about Shan for 5 years prior to this, and one clip isn't going to change my mind. That's what I appreciate about our fans. Like, it's much harder to get canceled when you have a true audience who loves you. They're not going to just believe the clips, but if you just go viral and then you say the N-word 5 years ago, you can't apologize for that. You're done. So I love that thing. We met you 18 months ago, and we're just getting on the Love Hour. I was aware of you 5 years. You know what I mean? Like, so these things have been in the works. And that's just to get you on one episode of our podcast. Right. We're not even trying to marry you. Imagine if we were trying to marry you. It'd take much more work than that. I have to go turn the heat off because I'm a roasted chicken right now.
I'm also sweating over here, so I don't know if it's super warm, but I have to take my socks off. Yeah, it's a scorcher.
Yeah, I just took my socks off too, by the way. I really quickly, if you know anything about me, you guys know that I love phrases and those kind of things. They're the things that stick out the most to me when I'm talking to people. And the idea of scaffolding, I don't know why this is truly resonating with me, but I think we all have this scaffolding in our lives that we don't even recognize until we're years down the line and you realize you don't know how to do anything. Someone else has been like girding you up, so to speak, or like handicapping you, and you didn't even know it. So I think that's really important. And you're I love this too, that you've done a lot of self-assessment in your dating world to kind of turn the knob, or turn the knob is what I'll say, in order to get different results instead of blaming other people, which I think is so common that we all can do. Say, this partner was wrong for me because of this partner was wrong for me because of that, this part, versus saying, listen, that's not to say they wasn't the wrong people. Now, folks, we have issues, but that's also to say, though, I have to do some of my own self-reflection as well.
You got to do the work.
That's part of the journey as well.
Oh yeah, I was on the Lily Singh show, and you know, sometimes when you're talking to friends on a show, you forget that there's an audience.
Yeah.
And so things that you just wouldn't necessarily, you know, say in a public platform. So I kind of repeated the whole, because she was asking about, we're both from Toronto, my experience dating in Toronto, and I was like, all men in Toronto are trash. The women are so much better. Blah 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 blah. And I just left there. I was like, you fucking basic. Like, how dare you? It just goes against so much of what you think and believe. And in truth, I was terrible at dating when I was in Toronto. It's a city of 5 million people. Not everybody can be bad. I was obviously gravitating towards, to your point, not the best partners, but I myself didn't put the work in to be a good partner in return. So there was a yin and a yang to it. And I'm not responsible for changing anybody else. I am responsible for myself. And so I think taking on the blame is like, yes, because now I'm like, oh, I know what to do different. So
you can. That's in the experiment. You are the variable,
right?
Like, you can change and make yourself a better person. You're more than likely, you have an opportunity to have better relationships because you have access to better people. I think it's honestly, Shan, a lot of people are not self-aware and do not want to hear, I need to do a thing. Like, in my relationship, when Melissa calls me out on something, I'm not trying to be like, yes, you're right. This is a poor personality flaw of mine. You know what I mean? Like, it stings a little bit. But in order to be a better person and therefore a better partner, you really got to be like, no, that actually is kind of like, that was really selfish of me. That was this of me. Because we have no problem doing that to the other person. Like, you trash this way, X, Y, and Z, and A, B, C as well. You know what I mean? But I think owning your negative parts makes you a better potential dating partner as well.
Oh, 100%. And there's people out there who are like that. Again, going back to that thing that the average person never gets good sex education. The average person never gets emotional education. The average person probably didn't have a healthy example of love growing up. So most people are pretty shit at this. Most people don't necessarily know how to love and partner. And
By the way, Shan, we don't usually cuss on our platform. You are cussing like crazy. Melissa didn't tell you. Somebody commented, Shan cussed. I looked around like I'm a little kid. I am 30.
We started out with fisting, so I thought it was.
Listen.
That's why I didn't say anything.
There's
I was
nowhere.
Like,
if you open the door with anal fisting, obviously the whole door is open. But I didn't know if Melissa ever told you that.
I did it.
But I just wanted to let you know. But it's, I don't mind. But the people, we've just set up a certain standard with our people.
I respect the home that you're in. I apologize to you.
It's all good. I don't think we told you.
No, we didn't.
Anal fisting, but no cussing. Anal fisting, okay. The S word, oh my God.
Bud Light in my muddy boots. I'm very sorry. Get up now. But yeah, I think that when you take on the responsibility for yourself, you can control the output, which gives you control over the outcome. And so if you have
don't just run past that great point. Back it up. Pump the brakes. Run that back one more time.
Now, see, it's never good the second time.
No, it is. I want people to hear that clearly.
When you are in control of the output, when you're aware of what you can change with your output, you now have given yourself control of the outcome. So if you're feeling like, oh, I am just a passenger on a ship of countless terrible dating experiences, I don't know where it's going to go to next. I feel desperate. I feel lost. I feel helpless in this scenario. The most empowering thing you could do is get to the steering wheel and be like, I know what I could do differently. I know where I haven't been showing up. I know how I haven't been inviting the best partners in my life. So as much as responsibility is scary, and it's so easy, again, in a world that people are not getting education. Most people are not going to be great. So you're correct in that realm. But there are good people out there, number one. Or number two, you can give yourself a higher chance by being a good partner yourself. So I love blame. I think blame is the most.
There was a guy in Toronto who was like, the women in Toronto are trash. And he was talking about you, Shan. And now you went off and met somebody and got married, and he's still holding on to that hurt.
Woo!
That was so good.
That was good. The people in the comments talking about, first of all, that's a shirt, Shan. That needs to be on a shirt.
That
Someone else
so
said
good.
They need a note taker because this is some gems you're dropping. I agree.
Yeah, this is, man, I feel like it's in so many ways of life too, not just dating. Like this approach to life is a better approach to everything. Like, what can I be as a person to be a better employee, a better partner, a better father? Like, what are my weaknesses? I feel like owning that part of who we are makes us better people, and therefore the relationships around us better people. But it's probably the most applicable in the dating sphere.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's applicable, like, to your point, I think everywhere else. That's one of the comments I got about the Game of Desire, that like, this is just a book about getting what you want. But that's because the formula is the same across the board, which is great. There's not a lot of guesswork and magic in this. Like, to be great at anything, to develop mastery at anything, the formula is pretty much the same. It's just the little tweaks along the way. You know, you might need guidance on who are the go-to experts I should be looking at, who are the kind of voices I should be inviting in, what are the kind of strategies I should utilize. But the base template is the same no matter what you're trying to get great at.
You know what's funny about this? We talk about stand-up all the time because I'm a stand-up comedian, and Melissa heard this on a podcast that stand-up is really the mastery of like 4 or 5 micro skills. It's memory, it's timing, stage presence, it's reading an audience, and also making things look as if you're just thinking of them when it's really a part of your act, right? Like, people tend to think improv is funnier than a planned act. But in order to get to that mastery level, it's a lot of tanking and bombing and watching good comics and how they deal with hecklers and how to get out of a bad spot and coming up with most good jokes come from bombing, because it doesn't work. So you think of something else to make somebody laugh. And you're like, oh, this actually does work. And people just think I can go on stage and stand up there and be funny, but there's really a lot of work. That's why I love that Fresh Prince episode, because Will was funny. He thought he could just be funny.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of work to it. And I think just realizing that I know I've said this before because it's just becoming a realization. Anything you want in life requires this amount of work and dedication. And we need to take the guesswork and the butterflies in your stomach has probably killed so many relationships. Feeling like we don't feel butterflies. Like I've been with Melissa for 20 years. I haven't felt butterflies in 20 years.
Since yesterday.
19 seconds ago. Right? Like that when I first saw her in the hallway, it was heart palpitations, but like now it's a different feeling. You know what I mean? Like I think it might have been gas when I was in high school.
But you know what? If you continue to have the butterflies and those like adrenaline spikes when you saw each other, you would reduce your lifespan because it damages tissues. Like it's almost like, when you're almost getting into a car crash and your whole body tenses up, you could feel that like thing happen to you. You've just damaged tissue in your body. So if you
gave me a heart attack and killed me with your love.
Yeah, so it's not sustainable to have it that way. It's better that it now turns more into consummate love, more companionate love. And you can still create those moments, but at least now you get to pick them. They're not just like overcoming you at all times.
Even love is work. It's learning your partner. It's speaking their love language. There's nothing my wife's, one of her love languages is acts of service. There's nothing inherently sexy about washing her car and vacuuming it and putting gas. Like it's not like, yeah, girl, you see this. Like she doesn't even see it half the time. But when she goes to her car and it's full of gas and it's clean, that makes her feel loved. But they don't show that scene in a movie. In Hollywood, it's like rose petals. So that's the stuff I was copying. What I saw on movies and stuff. And she, Gibbs wasn't high on her love language list. But there's nothing sexy about cleaning the dishes. Oh, I know a lot of people will be like, no, that is sexy, but no, you're dirty. The sink is black. It's a whole thing.
No, I think that's just kind of a part of it too. Like us trying to apply a one size fits all. With love languages, one of my things that people often say is like, so my love language is acts of service, and I like to speak gifts to people. I was like, you don't get to pick. That's not how this works.
What? How you gonna choose their love language too? Mine is this, and this is what you'll get from me. Wait, what? You heard me. Gift cards. Oh, that's funny, man. That's how people are, though. Because guess what? Gifts are easy. If Melissa just had gifts, that is easy for me. I can buy you stuff even before we were in the position we're in now. But taking time to I don't want to. I don't like it. I don't want it.
Well, can you combine the two? Can you buy her like a professional car wash? Or it has to have your labor?
Them dudes be cleaning her car. I take it up there. I'm not finna do it personally.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, I'll drop it off. I'll pick it up. I'll bring it back to you. But I'm not doing this. It's a lot.
Okay, I want to. We cut you off, or did you get all of your whole thoughts out?
We did all 5.
Okay, so what I want to do.
That's love language.
Okay, what's your love language?
No, you got to know, Melissa.
Oh, his is physical touch.
Acts of sex.
And words of affirmation.
Words of affirmation is a big one.
Words of affirmation is definitely a big one for Kev. Definitely.
I'm just an insecure little boy who needs to be told he's doing good at T-ball.
At least you know that, though. That's really
good. Man, I ain't gonna hold you. This is what it takes to make me feel love. Tell me I'm funny. It's funny, when I was earlier in this year, my set sucked, and I was like, listen, can you just tell me I'm funny? I need to hear it, because these sets ain't been showing me I'm funny. She was like, shut up, you're good at this. And I was like, you're right.
All right, so I want to transition. Shan, we got a really good audience here. We got 250 people in here, so we're doing real good. And they're staying and growing, so that's good. So what I want to do right now is transition to your questions. Some of them are dating related, and then some of them are just sex related. It's part of the reason I'm always having sex conversations on my podcast, because people always have questions about it. This is a topic that is never going to, at least for me, it will never grow old. It is always applicable, and people always have questions about it. So we're going to get to it.
Even your hand jobs really have to be practiced, because you got to know what
That's
part
true.
You like, what he likes. Is it helmet? Is it shaft work? Is it a little ball cup? Like, you can't just go in there blind. The person receiving the hand job's got to say, this is what I like. Too much. Take a break. Touch another part. Like, there's no magic. part that teaches you. You gotta learn. Sorry.
You have to have a variety of skills. Like my pet peeve lover is the person who comes in like, I'm incredible in the bedroom. And I always want to be like, for who? Like, just because you're great for one person, and the idea that you're great in the bedroom means that you have a routine that you're trying to apply to other people. I'd rather have somebody who's coming in like, I'm a listener, I'm a pleaser, I am somebody who is present in the bedroom. Like, that's the person I want to sleep with.
That is so true.
Person that's present.
So I'm proud of myself right now.
That was good.
That was really good. Good.
Y'all better be taking notes. Okay, here we go. First question. These are the 2 submitted questions. If you're in here, I edited them for a time. I'm in a new relationship and haven't been able to climax. I can only climax with a vibrator. What can I do to help this situation?
Tell me, what can I
climax
do?
with my partner?
Hand him the vibrator.
That's very smart. There's this website that's called omgyes.com, and it describes, it's kind of like love languages for orgasms. So it has 9 different prescriptive ways that people can orgasm. And it's such really important information to have, because you can communicate to your partner and say, what I actually need, if you need clitoral stimulation, or if whatever it is that you know gets you off, what I actually need is consistent stimulation. That means that when I say this feels good, don't start doing the alphabet. Like, stick with what I like, and that's what's going to get me to the end. Whereas in some people, their rhythm, they would rather like get into a consistent motion, but it's a mix of tapping, licking, sucking, orbiting. Some people are just straight orbiting. You know, direct stimulation is too much for them. And so coming up with the exact word that you can then empower your partner. So orbiting would be, so for the clitoris, for example, instead of like licking directly or sucking directly, you'd go around it, or to the left,
like
or
a
to the
planet
right.
orbiting.
Yeah, like the actual, body part is too sensitive itself, and it's almost painful or very ticklish. And so when they're masturbating, they might put their vibrator, for example, on their vaginal opening so that the vibrations travel up. And maybe their partner is now trying to please them, but is going directly for their clitoris, and that's too much, it's comfortable. So empowering yourself with the language to be like, yes, that's exactly what I like. And those are words that I can communicate to someone else. That's going to help you translate what you do by yourself to what you do with your partner.
Listen, let me tell you what. In sex, probably even more than dating, it is you should know what to do. It is how can I tell you what feels good to you?
100%.
You have to tell me if this is too hard, too soft, too quick, I'm just trying stuff. If you don't tell me, then I don't know. Now, if you say, oh, stay right there. Same thing, like perfect. Just like when you follow a recipe on a thing, you don't just get a pot roast and a picture of you do this, brine the meat, these seasonings for how long, then do this. Don't put the carrots in to the very end, and then it'll taste good. Like, we need that same thing with coochie. Come in, orbit a little bit, flick, take a little time off, go down the inner thighs, Gucci lick, or like a little gooch, come back. Say hello to the nip. What's up, nips? And come back down, right down the middle. Suck, you know what I mean? Like, and not like a list, but here's the things I do like. Mix these up, and when you find a good, he who finds a good thing, stay right there. Stay right there. Don't do nothing less or more. Like that might not feel sexual, but it'll get you to the promised land.
Well, it's all how you say it. I mean, if you say it the way you did, no, that's not sexual, right? So it's got to be like, ooh, yeah, like, oh, it's so hot, and there's 2 ways to communicate with somebody. You can yuck or you can yum. You can be like, you do way too much sucking, it's uncomfortable. Or you can say, when you lick right to the right of my clit, it feels incredible, and I feel that all throughout my body. That's what gets me going. And now that person's like, oh, less sucking, more to the right. So,
and you know what? Especially if you're a words of affirmation person, that would kill you. If you say you do too much sucking, that's enough to be like, you ain't getting nothing sucked in. You ain't getting nothing licked either. And I don't care if you never orgasm again. You can jack off with your vibrator till the end of time. But if you just say, oh, when I like how you do that, like, oh, you like that? I could do that very much more. Up, down, left, right, A-B, start.
And also, a vibrator person speaks to somebody who needs like consistent, and people are not as consistent as toys. They get tired. So also maybe providing your partner with an option, like, hey, if you get tired doing oral, you can switch to fingers. Or if you find yourself getting to the point where you're going to climax, you can just switch and use my dildo or use fingers instead. So if it's also a matter of being realistic of like, you can't mimic what my vibrator does. So how can I arm you with several different options so that you can do the exact same things that's actually that you're capable of doing.
So good. And you said the website was omgyes.com, right?
Yes.
Everybody got that? I put it in the chat a few times, but just in case y'all missed it, because there's a lot of comments coming in.
Listen,
I wanted to say
man.
it.
That is, there's even an art to that part of sex, of not being like a formulaic, like a professor, but a sexy partner.
Yes. And it's good to know. Like I like even the hand job thing that you said. So I worked for this like male masturbation toy company. I learned so much about hand jobs, like, because they have all these different textured sleeves, and then they twist in different ways, the different like sensations they can give. And I was like, oh, like there's a lot you could do with the hand job. So really revolutionized my game.
Yeah. You sound like LeBron. What I had to do, I got to get in the post. I got to work on my fadeaway game. I've been doing some work in the low post. I've really been working on my hand job. You know, this off season, really want to get some helmet work. There's so much with just the thumb, man. You just get that thumb going on that helmet. Oh, yeah.
Okay, next question.
There's this toy called the spinner, and it's my partner's favorite sex toy. So if you're like trying to like, you know, please your partner with a penis and you want a toy to bring into the bedroom, skip the grapefruit, try the spinner. It's great.
Kev goes straight to his phone.
The spinner.
All right, next question. How do I create intimacy with my spouse when he's not touchy-feely or talkative? I feel like I ask way too many questions and it probably gets on his nerves. I just want to talk and have him tell me what he wants, but sometimes it starts to feel scripted and awkward and thus not creating the desired effect.
This is a catch-22 question, because on one hand, it might be a compatibility issue with, you know, like Melissa, the fact that you get intellectually aroused says to me that you need a partner who's willing to sit on this podcast with you and have these discussions and wants to talk about it afterwards. Like that signifies to me that that's a really big part of how you feel loved and connected. And so somebody who doesn't share that passion probably wouldn't be a fit for you. But on the flip side, you can help anyone develop a skill. But if you gotta think about it, like when you're trying to teach a kid to be great at basketball, you can't come in dunking. You can't come in with like your best skills ever. You got to let them have wins. You got to go slow with them, teach them skill by skill, and then stop, right? So a lot of times, especially women, we do invest more time and energy and emotional intelligence. We do read more books. We do have more conversations, where a lot of men don't have the benefit of that. So it's new to them. Well, you ordered it.
Oh, yeah. You just put our address online. Luckily, it's not even legible.
It was too bright. I couldn't see
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
It was too bright. I just thought, thank you.
The only thing that sucks is because of Rona, it's not going to come to the end of May. But when summer comes, so will I.
More thing to look forward to when this is all over.
Okay, keep going.
Yeah, so I think that keep that in mind. So if your partner is not really doing great, so just try something small with them where they can see the benefit of communication and then be like, you know what, you did an amazing job. Like, I loved how you shared and how you opened up. It's allowed me to help you so much more. And then, you know, whatever that benefit is, if they communicate to you something about their childhood or their past, maybe the next day bringing it up or making a compassionate comment or giving them a small gift that signifies, as a result of you communicating in this way, I can now be a better partner for you. So now they'll build the confidence up. Now they'll want to start playing more. And then eventually you guys will become equal partners. But if you are unwilling to do that and you'd rather have a partner who just already naturally has that passionate skill set, that's where I'd say it's probably more of a compatibility thing.
That was good.
Shan, you are great, man.
That was good.
You are great.
I don't understand why you have anybody who's saying anything other than you are great.
Bruh, I mean, you're full of knowledge. You're down to earth. You're funny. It's very clear.
Thank you for this Amazon review. I just need to
Man, this is fantastic.
Okay, next question. How do you maintain a loving connection with your spouse while you're quarantined away from each other and your top two love languages are quality time and physical touch, which obviously are going to be out the window because you're quarantined separately?
I think people who are long distance have a lot more quality time than people who live together, or potentially. My friend is in a long distance. She's engaged. She said that they talk on the phone for 5 hours a day. There is no way I talk to my husband for 5 hours a day, you know, like, so I think there's a lot more intentionality around like, let's spend time together. So I think that you can utilize the quality time thing to your advantage. Physical touch is difficult, but the best you could do is like digisexuality. So incorporating elements of technology into your sex play, whether that is investing in toys they can control remotely or cyber sexting. So getting creative with the tools that are out there now to get as close as possible to having impact on each other's pleasure. So I think that, yeah, but the quality time thing, I think you can hit that off. How have you guys been doing quarantining together?
Oh, great question.
You know what's great? So I was just telling a friend of mine, in my adult life, I've never had the opportunity to spend this much time with my family, just because even something as simple as kids being in school, like, or us working regular jobs, like, or soccer practice. There is literally nothing on the calendar that requires us to be out of the home.
Mm-hmm.
So I've enjoyed it. My kids have, I mean, I am getting on their nerves. They're like, you just keep coming in here, huh? You just every 30 minutes, you just come in here. We good. You keep checking on us. Nothing has happened since the last time. But with Melissa and I feel like when we first stopped working both regular jobs, there was an adjustment period to being around each other this much, you know, because you feel guilty. You don't realize how much space you get in your day to day. Like I spent an hour and a half in the car driving to work, the whole time at my job away from her, and then an hour and a half. So the time with her is more precious because you only have a limited amount of it. And now you've got plenty of time. Now it's like, do you feel guilty for having a walk by yourself or in another room, or just like being on your phone or playing video games, or her doing her own thing? So I think there was definitely an adjustment period because we went from a ridiculously busy schedule, my travel schedule and work and kids and soccer, to nothing.
Yeah,
absolutely nothing but shooting, you know. So but I've been enjoying it. I feel like after this pandemic clears up, I don't think we'll ever have this much time again until we're like retired. But I've been enjoying it because it's like a breath of fresh air for me. How do you feel?
I've actually been enjoying it as well.
Melissa's been cooking like crazy. That's the one thing. I gave up on trying to lose weight. I'm just trying not to gain a lot. Cause Shan, she made steaks yesterday, like roofs in a cast iron with asparagus and baked potato. And I'm just like, girl, she made Rice Krispie treats the night before that. We've been eating God knows how much ice cream. Like I be having to walk for an hour and a half every day just to keep it at bay. I'm sorry. I just wanted to say that.
Because my love language is acts of service, I feel like that's why I like cooking. Yeah. And like, I feel like that's how, you know, we're all at the house and I don't really want to order out because I don't know, I'd be feeling the way about it nowadays. So I don't know, I like cooking. I'm not the best cook, but I do enjoy it just as an act of love for my family. But
so it sounds like you're great.
What about everything else?
But everything I really have been enjoying. I've been enjoying the time with the boys. We've been doing family night. We've been discovering new movies. We watched James Bond movie, Jim Carrey's movies.
You're watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So I've actually enjoyed it quite a bit. I think had we not gone through our transition earlier about beings, then this would have been rough. There's a lot of articles about couples are divorcing because of too much time together. I see, I don't want to be negative, but I can see how that happens because in dating and marriage, you never get as much time together as you have now. Yeah. This
is like 24 hours a day, every single day, no access to your other friends. Like people are not necessarily used to that. I've seen some articles like, this made me realize I don't even like my husband. I haven't liked him for a long time. I was like, dang, when you be up in here every day, you're like, oh, don't you gotta work? I thought you was cheating on me. Where is she? I need a break. You know, so but I can see how it's very different for a lot of people. If you haven't had that transition period, it could be a stark difference in your relationship.
Oh, massive difference. I think that, yeah, you do definitely realize if you like each other very quickly.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, we concur. All right, next question. Is online dating during this time a good idea, or is there more opportunity to be disingenuous? Ooh.
Well, I mean, fake people will always take an opportunity to be fake. So I don't think that they're like coming out the woodwork now. If you were a lying,
I'm really fake, man.
right person before, yeah, it's probably not going to make a massive impact. I think it's a pretty good time to be online dating, especially if your intention is to create more meaningful connections. OkCupid reported that they've never had so many messages being sent as there are during this time, and messages being sent between first-time matches. So that means people are actually being like, let me talk to this person. Let me try to create a connection here. So a novel idea on a dating app, I know, but I think that people are forced to communicate. They want to hear stories from others. They want to know how others are doing. Like, we want to check in. We want to feel this oneness right now. And so if you're on a dating app, that's an indicator that this is an area that you want to feel that connection in. So I think it's a pretty decent time. It's also a decent time if you're fed up with dating and you were very exhausted before and you were consistently getting the kind of matches that you don't want, and you were dating the kind of people who were draining you and forcing you to lose parts of yourself. This is an incredible time to stop, shut it down, take a break, do some self-work, read some books, reorganize, and re-strategize for how you want to come out of this with a different strategy.
So good.
That's good. I think that's more powerful than going out and dating, is taking the time to actually take a break from it, a reprieve from it, and do some self-evaluations. Can I go back to your Frozen 5? That might be a good place to start with, like, if you're going to take the opportunity to take a break, to come up with your Frozen 5.
Yeah, so the Frozen 5 is actually based on a book that I read that I love, that really made a big impact on me. It's called The Science of Happily Ever After. And in it, he was saying that, like, statistically, you're going to get 3 wishes out of a romantic partner. So people have these long ass lists, but when it comes down to it, you're getting 3 things. So you really have to be really mindful about what those 3 things are. And while I think that that's true and great, and the whole book is really based on, like, well, how do you pick these 3 things? How do you kind of figure out what those are for you? And how do you find the person with that? And it was using a lot of, like, math, right? So if your 3 things are university educated, Black male, and goes to church. If you have a pot of marbles of 100, now you have to realistically think, well, of that 100, how many are Black, how many go to church, and how many are university educated? Now you're left with like 15 marbles, and you have to start being like, okay, where are these 15 people? So that book is really great. People should check it out. But my whole thing is, if you put the work in and you know yourself and you learn and you change and you're practicing, you get 5 wishes. It's up it a bit. Like, I think that my husband is 5 wishes. It's the 5 things that were most important to me, but you have to be really, again, clear about what those are. So in the book, The Game of Desire, I listed 25 things, and they're not vague. The more specific you can get, the better. Because if your wish is something broad, like makes me feel good, what does that mean, right? Yeah. If your wish is something broad, like supports me, well, what does that mean? What is specific? Financial support, emotional support, like what are really exactly? And when you're forced to kind of narrow that down, because you'll read the 25 list and be like, I want all these things, and we all do, but statistically, it's not likely that you're going to get a partner who excels at those things. And that's why identifying those 5 are so important. And it makes it so much easier to look for your person, because now it's like, you're cool and you're great and we get along, but you don't meet my 5. That's okay. Maybe we could still be friends. Maybe we could still be friends with benefits, but I don't see you as a candidate for a long-term partner because I know myself.
You know what's funny about that? If Melissa had a list and having being physically fit was on it, she wouldn't have me. That's literally like, if that was one of your 3 or 5, you miss out on everything else I bring to the table by just saying, oh, he has to have abs too. Too much. I can be a great father, provider, your friend. We can travel, but if you want abs, I'm out. For that reason.
Acts of service, and she loves cooking for you, and she loves that you eat it. So that's why she would have to prioritize on her list and be like, which one's more important? So
you're right.
I think you'd win.
Acts of service, and I was like, but abs, I'm only gonna eat broccoli and chicken breast. Then all that food you make is gonna go to waste, and you get to look at these abs, and I'm throwing your food in the trash. Because you be making peach cobblers and stuff, like, girl. But she also says she loves me the way I am.
So
Some people, like, there's a comedian who had a great joke about what you just said. It's like when you're 18, your list has 30 things. When you're 25, it's got 18 things. By the time you're 50, it's like, alive, don't hit me. Like, oh.
You know, when you try to bite and the timing is wrong, because then you guys stopped talking and I was
I thought it was frozen.
Poor time. I was doing really good. I was like,
You get another question?
Yeah, I was going to go to another question. I really quickly, I just want to piggyback off those, your Frozen 5. I love that title. I was saying when I was younger, my mom would always say, what are your non-negotiables? Like, make sure that you've identified your non-negotiables. So even when I was like learning in your book and learning about your Frozen 5, I immediately thought of that. And even when I met Kevin, even at 16, I've always been like kind of a no nonsense, more serious person anyway. So even at 16, I had a list, so to speak, of my non-negotiables.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's really interesting. I think that's so helpful.
That's also realistic. Like sometimes we just need to be realistic. You're not going to get everything you want out of a partner.
Yeah.
Just going into it knowing that is like, you know what, that's probably true. Like, I don't even get everything I want out of myself. I want myself to eat right and work out. I can't get that out of me. How can I expect my partner to do everything I want from them when I can't be everything I want for myself? You know what I mean? But we live in this fantasy world where we feel like we deserve everything on my list. And I'm not budging till I get everything on my list. And that's just not true.
I'm definitely going to steal that quote and not credit you, but that was so powerful. That I don't get everything I want out of myself. Like that is absolutely true.
Right now, while we're doing this, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be just hungry enough to eat that ice cream. Perfect amount. And I said I was going to stop eating ice cream until Corona is over. I lied. I bought 3 of those doggone Magnum dark chocolate raspberry ice creams. And as soon as this is over, I'm going to eat it. And I know I shouldn't. I've been eating dessert every day, Shan. I don't earn it. I didn't even work out this morning. It was raining. Oh, well.
Hoping. We're very stressed out. It's natural to do this. You know what? And we're all going through it. Like my friend posted this picture of Jonah Hill, and it was like, you know how he had that major weight loss? And it was like me going into quarantine and me coming out of quarantine. And I was like, this is the relatable content that I need right now.
We just got to get through this now, any way possible. Just getting through this with our sanity intact is going to be a win.
Yeah. And the fact that you even thought to self-regulate is enough.
There you go.
Not really, but.
Okay. Really quickly, for those of you asking, Shan's book is called The Game of Desire. The Quibi show. What is the Quibi show called?
It's called Sexology.
That's what I thought, but I wasn't sure. Okay. The Quibi show is called Sexology. It's 130. There are many episodes on Quibi, but she covers topics ranging from everything to everything. And her, Kat put it in there. Boom. And her Instagram is Shan Boody. There we go. Okay. People are asking, so I want to make sure we're all caught up. And as you're joining, Kat is putting it in there as well. So feel free to, Kat's regulating. Okay, moving on. And we'll do a few more questions and then I'll let you guys go. Okay. How can you tell if you're genuinely single by choice versus holding up a guard subconsciously that is keeping away a potential partner?
Oh, wow.
They're ordering it right now. Good.
Yeah. Oh, my love language. So flirtatious. I love it. That's an amazing question. How can you tell if you're single by choice or single by circumstance?
Mm-hmm.
Is that sort of
that's kind of it.
The bullet point there?
Yeah.
Are you deciding when relationships end? Are you deciding when connections go forward or don't go forward? Are you waiting for the phone call or are you choosing who you call? So you got to ask yourself about how in control do I feel of the kind of connections that I'm having? If you feel like you're constantly the one ending it, that's probably a sign that you're not putting in the work beforehand to really think about what kind of connection that you want. So the signs will point back to you. And if you feel like you're the one who's always getting ended on, that would also point back to you. So the good news is, in either case, you got to do some changes. This question, I think it's because I wouldn't want the other one. I wouldn't want the, oh, it feels like maybe I'm just single because my standards are too high, or my this. Because you can have high standards, but if you have high standards for a well-educated, church-going man, and you're looking at the club, your standards aren't really helping you much. So your strategy and your positioning is off. So something is clearly off in this circumstance. So I would kind of just brainstorm of like, what exactly is the missing link of what's going wrong? Am I meeting the wrong partners, or are the right partners not consistently wanting to stick with me? And that's where the work has to go in.
That's good.
Be good.
You were asking people to do some deep
Listen,
self-work. I don't know if we ready.
Hey, but you know what? If you don't do it, you have no one to blame but yourself.
Yeah.
Because you are really, by doing that work, you're improving your own chances. If you're not doing it, then you're your own potential success. So, you know, you're gonna have to look in that mirror and pull that mask off like Shan did and be like, it's me.
And you reverse engineer. I'm not asking you to go back to your childhood and figure out like what was the base root problem of whatever issue that you're carrying forth into adulthood. Like that's probably work that takes, you know, a licensed professional to help you with. I'm just saying, think about like what is the issue right now? You know, the umbrella issue, like I'm not finding the kind of quality of partners that I want. So the sub question that is it me or is it them? Okay, so to answer that question, I now have to pinpoint, where is the pain point? Where is like the area of disconnect here? And that's gonna bring you to your next actionable step. Like the more you can make stuff small in your brain, because really big questions, like it's a very big question. And big questions often don't get answered, right? Because I don't know. I don't even know where to begin with that. So the smaller that you can break that down, you know, even creating a really tiny, tiny list, that's what's going to help you actually make that impact and that change. And so sometimes like this is the reason why I don't ever answer DM questions, because I cannot have enough context to possibly give you a good plan of action other than the vibrator one. Even that, still some questions I would have to ask that person to really give them specific pointed advice. Because to your point, Kev, like that's where I think that this area fails a lot, is a lot of the advice you get on love and sex is vague and it's idealistic. And so it's like, here's the mentality you want to get to, here's the end result you want to get to, but it's not giving you the brick by brick steps.
Right.
And so to do that, you have to either go to an expert who will help you find that next step, or really decompose this for yourself.
It's like I'm going back to my pot roast analogy. It's like telling people, you want to make a pot roast, here's the meat you buy, here's the ingredients, you also need an oven. Okay, but like how much of each? Good luck. Like that's what it's like. Like you need a quarter teaspoon of Lowry's. You need this much water. It needs to be in the oven for this temperature, for this. There's way more that goes into it than having the right ingredients and the right tool. It's the order in which to do them.
And then once you do it based on the recipe 5 times, it comes out great. Now you get creative. Now you start adding in stuff like, but it takes that foundational information first to build the confidence to get to a place where you can start making it your own. So that's what people have to seek out, is that foundational information.
Yeah, because Black people at one point in time, we made Kool-Aid with their instructions and we were just like, this is not good. I'll show y'all how to make Kool-Aid. Much more sugar than there got to a point we made it with no we just held enough, like this is a good amount of sugar. Exactly. And we knew how to do it. I can't remember the last time I looked at those instructions. Oh my God, our kids have never made Kool-Aid.
I know, I thought about that the other day. My mom made Kool-Aid for dinner. She made like kebabs, rice, and Kool-Aid. And I was like, Kool-Aid?
Pores or riches.
I've never made Kool-Aid before. We need to do that. That needs to be an event.
I don't even think I'll be seeing Kool-Aid at the stores anymore.
I just saw it yesterday when I picked up your iced tea packets.
Wow. Kool-Aid need to bring the commercials back.
They do.
Sorry, Shan. We're on a whole thing right now.
Well, I too have drinketh the Kool-Aid. This is
all right. Here we go. It does say sweet to taste, though. That is part of the instructions. Okay. How should you proceed when there is someone that you connect with mentally and sexually, you match well, but the attraction, I love this question, but the attraction is not there? Should you move past it and hope for and hope that attraction comes? I'm going to give a really quick preface to this. I don't know who sent this question, but Kevin's ridiculous.
I always get that. What they just he's just a little ugly. He's not even a whole bunch of ugly. He's just a touch of ugly. He got a dash of ugly. Like he just got hit real hard when he was 6 months old. He never recovered.
Cannot. I love this question. Number one, it's a very real question, but someone that I worked with had a really great guy that she was dating. I actually love them together. I like called him and was like, listen, y'all gonna be together. Y'all don't know it, but I can already see it. And then like 2 or 3 years later, they started dating, they got engaged. And then after they got engaged, she texted me and I was like, yeah, I called it. I'm so excited. And then like 3 days before or not 3 days, like a week before they were supposed to get married, she called it off and texted me and was like, I just couldn't do it. There wasn't a physical attraction.
She was ugly that whole time.
And I know she was struggling with it, and I just did not have an answer for her. So I feel like this is something that people deal with quite a bit.
Shan just said, how did you get to sex then? It's dark. That's how. It's dark. You don't see the ugly when the lights are off. You open the lights, you're like, turn them back off. So ugly self. You know how to eat that cat, your ugly face.
I mean, like else in life, there's 2 paths to this, right? There is the path of you don't owe somebody your forever just because they're kind to you. You know, if it's not there, it's not there. The reason why finding your person is such a momentous occasion that gets celebrated the way that it does, that gets the stories and the movies, is because it's so special. So it is difficult to find all of the criteria mix to actually meet that person. We have billions of people on this planet, and yet it's very hard to find your person. So it's okay to be 2 degrees off. And that's really impactful information. Now I'm like, great, I know I need to be treated this way, spoken to this way, licked this way, but I also need to look across from that person and be like, oh my gosh, you're a work of art. Now I know that about myself. Thank you for that knowledge. I'm glad that we got better through this. It's like leaving a career that you're like, this is not my forever job, but I'm so grateful. And those are hard jobs to leave when you're like, they were great to me. I had great benefits. I love my coworkers. I love everything about it, but I just know this is not my final destination. This is not my career job. Hard choices to make, but important choices to make, because depending on your belief system, we have one life to live, and that person has one life to live. And they're going to meet somebody who looks at that and is like, you know, that person exists. And so while you're trying to find that feeling and you're trying, you know, you're robbing them of the experience of having that individual who that just comes naturally. So on one hand, you don't owe anybody that. You're not doing anyone a favor by compromising in that way. On the flip side, you can reprogram who you're attracted to. You can start to like, I would be like, what does this person look like? Let me start to follow social media accounts that validate their archetype as sexy. Let me start to watch some movies that put them in that light.
Let me find more ugly people so his ugly looks a little better than their I need more. Shan, you said I need more ugly on the timeline. Less Idris, The Rock, Ryan Gosling, you're out of here. Seal, Danny DeVito, Danny Glover, you are in. And now my husband looks good.
Now I'm just like,
he's killing the other uglies.
I've reprogrammed my schema where this person gets celebrated, because oftentimes too, it's not even that you don't feel that, but you don't feel like the world looks at them that way. So like that kind of dampens your attraction to them. So I think it's like reprogramming your world where you find a space where they're uplifted in that way. And so I think that we have a lot more control over who we find attractive. That comes with ourselves. If you look in the mirror and you look at yourself and you don't see somebody who is sexy and fine as hell and worthy of having their bones jumped and lusted after, that to me really speaks to like a reprogramming that you have to do for you so that you walk with that confidence. And it could also be a 2-part. Maybe it's also something that your partner has to do, because perhaps maybe they're not the most conventionally attractive, but they don't think that they are either. So they don't really walk with that swag or move with that. And that also in turn doesn't give you that same attractive feeling. So they may have to reposition their mentality so that they get that kind of, you know, swag to them. And you have to also start to invite more images that affirm that your partner is an attractive person. Now, again, we're talking about physical attractiveness. I don't know if that's what you were talking about at all.
They were.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love this. And part of the reason why, girl, I be knowing stuff and I don't be knowing stuff. I say it all the time because it's true. But when I went on my own, I call it my journey to self-love, and like trying to learn to like this outside exterior body that I have, I realized that the women that I found pretty, beautiful, attractive look nothing like me. And it wasn't until I noticed and purposely was like, Nia Long is beautiful. Kelly Rowland is gorgeous. I love Gabrielle Union, that I was able to celebrate my own beauty, the dark skin that I'm in. Like I was only able to do that when I could see the beauty in those that look like me. And so I think that this is a powerful moment, not only in trying, again, that reprogramming of your spouse, but again, what you were just talking about in gaining that self-confidence in yourself. That's a powerful way to do it. And I absolutely 100% did that. 100%.
And I'm sure that changed, not just like, and you probably don't look any different, but I would never suspect that about you, because there's nothing about you that doesn't say like, I deserve every bit of attention, praise. I am deserving of this space. Like nothing about you doesn't already command that to me. So I would be interested to learn or meet the version of you, you know, that many years ago before you did that work. And now, you know, look how far you've come today.
Mighty, mighty long way.
We've come this far by faith.
Mighty long way. Okay, I think I'm going to answer one more question. There's a lot, but let's just do one more because I want, listen, I had a good time and I don't want to be the dead horse, child. This was an excellent episode and I had a good time. So for Canada, is sex 4 times a week, married couple too much? Okay, do you want to pick it? I don't even know what this word is.
I don't. I've never even seen that word.
I honestly.
Let me just ask that so maybe.
Yeah, I want to ask you because I don't know what it. I don't know what it is.
Could you explain the difference between in a frenulum orgasm versus a normal orgasm for men? Why is there no downtime afterwards?
Oh, a frenulum orgasm versus a normal orgasm. Well, a frenulum is part of the. Where did my Zoom go? A frenulum is part of like the penile network, and it's sort of like the frenulum is like equivalent to that part of the clitoris where like the labia minora connects there. So I didn't know that you could differentiate them, because it's almost like being a licking orgasm versus a sucking orgasm. So this is something that I have to be educated on, because if you're stimulating the penis, you're stimulating the frenulum, unless you're giving head reverse and only licking the top. In such a case,
the top, like the top of the helmet or the shaft?
No, like if this is the penis sideways and I'm only licking here rather than licking the underside.
Oh,
got it. Where the gills are.
The frenulum is here. So like if I'm penetrating or if I'm putting in my full mouth, I'm stimulating that. So I don't know that you could I didn't know you could differentiate the two. But school,
also a good way to question you don't have a full answer for, just saying I've had to be educated on that part. That's okay. I like that.
Maybe yeah, that was great. Okay. We're gonna ask one more. People are like, well, ask one more then. We will. How do you adapt to different types of dating? Okay, hold on. You want to ask it, Kev? I'm trying to find a good one.
Let me see. Because you read them out loud, so making people want to hear the answer.
No, sorry. That might be a good question. Yeah, I don't think I've ever asked that.
Is sex this one?
Yeah.
Is sex 4 times a week for married couples too much because we want more, especially during the quarantine?
Oh, I mean, that's a great question. I mean, there's no medical proof that says more than 2 times a week is beneficial for you in terms of health wise. So having sex less than 2 times a week, you're losing some of the health benefits of having an exclusive romantic partner. So that's when you should try to engage more. But there's no proof that like 7 or 12 is better or worse. It's just a comfort thing. And it sounds like it's mutual. That's what's pretty crazy about right now is
more like go have it.
People are having really adverse reactions. So some people are really horny during this time and some people have no sex drive. Like it's just too overwhelming. Your fight or flight system is activated. You can't even begin to fathom about intimate connection right now. Like you're already running really high. Whereas other people experience what's called arousal confusion, where because your adrenaline is up and your heart rate is up, those are the same physiological responses you get when you're horny. So they're like, oh shit, my body wants to go. So that same emotion is processed in different ways mentally and within a couple. So if the two of you both are processing it and coping in the same way, like that's a miracle. That's really great.
Here's the thing.
We talked about that before.
Yeah, we have. I think that I love that you said two of you are processing it the same way. The thing is, we live in the same house, but we're processing information very differently. This pandemic, other stuff, you're giving us the same information and our body is decoding it totally different. Same way with spicy food. You have a person who takes 5 hot chili peppers and loves it. Somebody else hates it. I think understanding that, like Melissa tends to consume more political news and reports and stuff like that. So I just be like, all right, that's enough. It's all bad. I get it. It's good. I check in the morning for like a glimmer of hope. Within 3 seconds of looking at my phone, I know there's no hope today. Okay, let me go find something to make people laugh. You know what I mean? But I think understanding that we might not process it the same, and we might not process it the same on the same day. Maybe Melissa's feeling more optimistic today, and I've been like, woke in the middle of the night reading a whole bunch of articles, and I'm feeling doom and gloom. And understanding that I don't think there's any normal in this pandemic. Okay. Nothing about this is normal. I actually saw a tweet today that said, expecting things to go back to normal there's going to be a new normal, but things in America, in the world, will not go back. You're not going to ever shake a hand, especially the first year, shake a hand with as reckless, like, hey man, nice to meet you. Now you're like, oh shoot, pandemic. You know what I mean? So I don't know where I was going with this anymore.
That you process things.
Oh yeah. So I think, and here's the other thing about sex. I think this is why it's good to say sex is an average, because you might have sex 6 times one week and 1 time the next week, and then 3 or 4 times the following week. You know what I mean? Like, and within a given month, you might have a high month, high quarter, low quarter. But I feel like sex isn't you know what I'm saying? Like unless it's like 1 time a week for 6 months, then it's like, okay, that's much below normal. That's what I want to say. Here's a question that I want to answer because I just learned this. Is vaginal fluids tasting like water a myth? I feel like every other fluid tastes. I can see how that can cause anxiety if you're unsure what your partner is expecting. We learned this from another person. Shan, I'd love to hear your thoughts as well.
I want to hear your thoughts on this.
Water, first of all, the thought that the vaginal fluid or the vagina tastes like water is an absolute myth. It's a self-cleaning organism. It's going to taste different based on diet, time of the month, all other type of factors. It might have a naturally musky taste, a smell or taste. Some have naturally muskier tastes or smells than others, and that all depends on a variety of things. But water is a myth. I believe the feeling of water or being tasteless is a myth. And I've tasted various few, and it's not the same. It just depends. Sometimes it's more metallic, depending on if your cycle is coming soon or just past. And sometimes in the middle of the month, it might taste or smell very differently. So I don't think you're expecting it to be the same at any 2 times.
That's a beautiful answer. I think even within the same person, I think that was a perfect answer.
The same person, especially with the same person. You got to eat it every day to know. You got to be like a vagina sommelier, like, oh, your cycle should be about 8 days from now. I feel like you've had a little less water than you usually. Hints of brisket. You've been eating more brisket than normal. Oh yeah. I feel like you've notes of pineapple and apricot.
I just want to say that you did very well.
Everything that he described is things that he liked, Melissa. So
it was.
Listen.
Got a magical taste of a punani. Sounds wonderful. That sounded great to me.
You got to go there. It's like a fine wine. Maybe one got a Riesling. It's a a little desserty today. Oh, this is like a deep red on today. Come on in here.
But if you have more questions about vaginal health, please go back and listen or watch our For Women Only series. We had a bunch of all OBGYNs come in, 4 of them specifically Black women who were phenomenal guests, and they went through all of this. Even when Shan was talking about your orgasm and learning if you like a clitoral or vaginal or whatever, part of that is learning your anatomy, because we don't be knowing. the difference between the vulva and everything else. So these are all things that are really important. So go back and watch that series, and the very first episode with Dr. Jess, nope. I'm not gonna remember her name. That's okay. But the very first episode, I think I called it Anatomy for Dummies or something like that. Because no, she was the last one. The very first one. I can see your face.
Jessica Shepard?
No,
Dr. Rachel?
No, stop talking. You don't know.
Halle Berry?
She brought out a whiteboard and drew Our Lady parts and diagrams and all of that. So definitely check that out. It's really, really good and really good information, and something that will only empower you to know your body more and be able to articulate your needs and wants a lot better and more clearly.
I love that. That's such a gift to have. That's the coolest thing about having the access to podcasts in perpetuity. So you can like cross-reference it. That's really cool. And we got to see how it impacted Kevin real time.
Yeah.
I learned a lot about that.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Dr. King, thank you. It was Dr. Kiara King. That's exactly who it was.
Almost down there. I was looking on the Love Hour podcast.
Thank you so much, Shay. That's exactly who it is. Okay, so I'm going.
And I think it's also important for the women to know that that is not for them.
To say more what
for their vaginal vaginal health, smell, taste. It's not going to be the same because when you're kids, you're not taught that. You think, oh, it's got this smell, you're not clean. And a lot of that stuff is just misinformation. And if nobody else tells you wrong, then you believe an atheist who doesn't know anything else either. You know what I mean? And nobody's ever challenged that. So
the other thing is, Shan, what do you think about this? So we just had another licensed LMFT on. Her name is
remembering is not really your
I be trying to
just go with what your thought was.
Well, it's really important to me to shout out who I've learned my information from, but my memory is trash. Anyways, she recommends that women taste themselves to get out of the fear and anxiety of how they taste. What are your thoughts?
Oh, that's a great tip. I think that even just something as simple as kissing your partner after they go down on you, to even show that solidarity that like, I don't think I'm gross. So I think that to get over the anxiety, number one, but also number two, to create a feeling of, I think that I'm the shit. Like I'm confident in my taste. So I think that's really hot.
We're in this together.
Like when my husband and me first started having sex, he was really particular about like after, oral sex, like you have to brush your teeth. And then I was just like, what's the implications about your own body that you're putting in place when you like put that rule there? Like, where is that coming from? Like, why is it so gross for you to think about semen in your mouth when you're asking me to do that? So that's something that we corrected.
That's you. What you want to brush your teeth? That's you. You should be coming with your own self. It was Dr. Lori.
Yeah, it was Dr. Lori. But that is really important. I'm just going to say really quickly, that's really important because you don't realize how much of what you do and how you're acting is rooted in a negative belief.
Yes.
And so challenging that forces you to evaluate, why do I think this way? Why do I want to do that? For me, like showers are a must. This must happen. Like I just feel a certain way, but it's because I don't know. I'd be feeling a way about body odors and that kind of thing. But recognizing, so what am I internalizing about me? What am I internalizing about my body that I am now forcing him to be subjected to?
Yeah, I'm like, girl, nah. So you trying to take all the aroma away. There's pheromones in that smell. You smell, I'll be like, oh yeah. You don't take a shower, it's too clean. Everything tastes like soap. You smell like soap. I want to smell that butt. What did they smell like? Oh yeah. I'm not talking about musty, like, oh, you just worked out all day. But man, listen to y'all take a shower all day. She ain't even do nothing today. We've been in the house all day. You good.
Oh man, what that day tastes like needs a t-shirt.
What that day tastes like, bro? I'm trying to see something. Trying to see what that thing smell like.
All right, so this is what we're gonna do. Shan, thank you so much.
And this was better then I had high hopes for this and it even surpassed those. You are
Yes.
the friend of the potty. Friend of the pod.
So can you give the people all of your information, where they can find you, where your book is available, all of the things, how they can follow you, all the things?
I'm going to give one thing because I feel like you get one wish with these chats.
Okay.
But already a listener, you can actually get my book, The Game of Desire, on Audible. And if you don't have Audible, you can just get a free trial and listen to my book. You download it, cancel your subscription, you didn't pay nothing. So that's a free way to listen to the best work of my life.
Nice.
Nice.
Very proud of you, Shan. Congratulations,
Congratulations.
on writing it, and we'll do our best. I also want to make this public so people can know about our book.
Okay.
And lead to purchases and sales.
Yes, please.
Later, guys. Later. Months.
Kevin's not going to do months. Stop lying to the people. But if you also want additional information, Shan does have a YouTube page with tons of videos and really, really, really good information. And now's a good time to consume all of it, like I have done.
Bruh. Listen.
So thank you so very much.
Shan. Thank you
be
all.
safe. Thank you for your time. Thank you guys for joining us today. Again, be safe, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Do I just end it for everybody?
Stop the live stream first. It's going to get stuck.
Okay, got you.
No.